you or all of you know by now, my name is Beth Mosier, and I am the Benefits and Wellness Administrator at Mission Essential Personnel here in Columbus, Ohio. And I'm going to take a few minutes of your time tonight to talk a little bit about stage fright and 3 ways that you can fight performance anxiety in your day-to-day lives, and then also, if you pay attention very closely, how you can do better on your final exam.
Ooh.
So, what is performance anxiety? First off, why did I choose this topic? As a few of you may remember from the very first night of class, my background is not always in benefits, and it's not always in HR. We are very touchy-feely people, and I was a theater person before that, so I was extra touchy-feely. But I did not always come from HR, and I didn't have a business background. So when I was thinking about a topic that affected most people that in this room, I thought, you know what? The thing that affects me most on a day-to-day basis is performance anxiety. And I am not afraid to admit that. How many of you, before the BC Fair, before your presentation, had a moment where you're like, I cannot do this. I am so nervous. I just can't do it. Yeah. Okay, a fair number. For those of you who didn't raise your hand, it's okay. We understand if you don't want to tell us that you are nervous. We all know you were. Researchers estimate that as many as 80% of the population are subject to performance-related anxiety. And that's not just in general, that's on a daily basis. So it's people who are dealing with stress in their daily lives. Every day they get up in front of people, or they're writing an email, they're meeting new colleagues, different forms of self-presentation. That's what performance anxiety is. It's not just public speaking, but anything that has to do with presenting yourself in any capacity. So these are a few of the things that I experience when I get nervous. I don't know about you guys. Confusion, sweaty palms, my cheeks get all red if I get real embarrassed. I get really bad butterflies in my stomach. I start to hunch, I start talking to the floor. My hands get shaky, you can kind of see that right now. I get cold feet, and at the same time I start to sweat. That's really awesome. Also, I get a really dry mouth. I have a really hard time talking. I was a singer, so that was particularly nerve-wracking for me, because nothing would come out in the first 3 bars. My heartbeat starts to race, and I have a change in vision. I don't know if anyone else has this, but you hold your note cards and you can't read them, and then you can see every single detail on the back of the wall. You can see every single eye staring at you, like super hawk vision, but you can't read the notes that are 2 feet from you. So, what causes all of this? Performance anxiety is really your fight or flight reflex. Who's heard of fight or flight? You all are familiar with it. You see the news stories where someone has lifted a car off of a child, or really incredible things. Fight or flight is your body's ability to perform under pressure. It is your body's automatic response to stress whenever it's feeling attacked. Your heart starts racing to get your blood moving, so you're ready to run. It helps you get sweaty when you're presenting. You get confused because you're focused on one thing, and that's escaping the situation. You get cold feet because all your blood's going to your heart, so you can get ready. And my favorite, your digestive system shuts down, so you can get ready for a lot of energy, or it gives you butterflies. Fight or flight is really great when you're being attacked by a bear, but not when you're trying to present. So we are going to go through 3 different steps that you can try to help eliminate your fear of public speaking or any performance-related anxiety that you have. The first one, and it seems really obvious, but the first one is to prepare. All of us do this, and we all got up when we were getting ready for our presentations. We read through our material, we did our research, we looked through all of the data. So you want to know your material. First step, very basic. Second step, know yourself. Not everyone does this. Think about what you do in your presentation that makes you the most nervous. What is it that you are going to get up in front of everyone? What is going to make you the most nervous, or you're the most afraid of when you get in front of a crowd? And finally, know your audience. And this is the other piece that not everyone really thinks about. We were really lucky in this class that we know each other. I'm really lucky because there's only 2 of you who haven't presented. So I know all of you by this point in the semester. But you need to get to know your audience and make sure that you know how you think that they will respond, so you can get comfortable in advance. By preparing and doing the best that you can to prepare, you're a lot more likely to face fewer stressors. Your body won't respond as dramatically if you know the situation that you're walking into. So that's step number 1, prepare, easy. Step number 2, relax. Slightly less easy. Your heartbeat's going, you're getting nervous. It's a little bit harder to relax. The first step to relaxing is really to address your stress. Tamara talked about this a little bit when she was talking about her stress reducers, but there are a whole bunch of studies right now about reducing stress and how if you take the time to address what you're feeling head on before you approach it in real life, you don't have to deal with as much of it. You can acknowledge it and you can move on and move past it without having to really go through some of the physical aspects of that. Secondly, give yourself a break. A lot of us do is we're sitting there looking at our notes right down to the last second. You're getting ready to prepare, and all you're really doing when you cram in a last-minute study session is making yourself more nervous. You have a lot more anxiety. You're building up to the fight before you even get there. It's like running a marathon after going to the gym. When you go to the gym first, you feel great. Then you are so tired by the time that you have that marathon to run that you're just not going to be as successful. Your mind gets a little cloudy, you get a little distracted, and you're done halfway through. So make sure that you give yourself that time to relax and prepare ahead of time. Don't stress out your body when it doesn't need to be in stress. And finally, get comfortable. I'm really guilty of this one. One of my big things is I get really clumsy when I get nervous. I'll tend to trip. But for some reason, I always choose the day that I have the big presentation to wear stiletto heels or a really tight dress or whatever it is that makes me think that I'm going to feel better that day. And it's not comfortable, and by the end of it, I am so nervous that it's just not it's not helpful. So make sure you get comfortable. I'm really lucky in my office. We actually have a really relaxed dress code. When I came in today, I had to wear jeans and I had to switch because if I wear a suit in the office, they will ask me if I'm looking for a new job. So I'm lucky in that I get to wear jeans most of the time when I present. But find your comfort, find what works for you in your office space. Okay, and finally, and this is the kicker, if nothing else works, fake it. So the big key to getting over your stage anxiety is if nothing else works, if you're not able to relax, if you're not able to make yourself calm down and think ahead of time, if you're put on the spot and you just absolutely didn't have time to prepare, fake it. Get into character, do what all of the actors do in the big movies. Just pretend that you are confident. And that is the key to getting over your stage fright. Dustin Hoffman is a really big example of this. He is a method actor. I don't know if you're familiar with the term method actor. Those are the people who, I'm going to play a prisoner, so I'm going to go put myself in jail for 6 weeks and just live like a prisoner. It's the same concept. You just want to surround yourself by people who are confident. You want to act like they do and just imitate what you see. If you cannot come up with any other way to overcome it, protect. Okay, so I promised you that at the beginning, if you gave me a few minutes of your attention, I would help you with the final exam. One of the things that people don't think about, a lot of times you're thinking of performance anxiety and you're thinking of public speaking or getting up in front of a group. But one of the largest segments of people who suffer from performance anxiety are students who have test anxiety. It's the same fight or flight response. It is the same steps to prepare for a test that you prepare for a performance. So, for your final exam, think about preparing. Obviously, you're all going to study. You're all going to go out and look over your notes, talk to your classmates. Think about what makes you the most nervous on your test. What part of the exams do you have the most trouble with? What are you the most worried about? And focus on that when you study. And finally, who needs to understand your answers? We all know Professor Swanling's test. We've had a couple of them. You know how he asks questions, so now you know how to prepare for them. You've got that in your back pocket. Next, relax. Acknowledge how you already feel. You're a little nervous. It's a final exam. There's a lot weighing on it. But there could be a lot worse things out there, like bears. You don't need to worry about the test. It's really not that big a deal. Give yourself a break. Don't cram at the last minute. Take some time to relax. And then make yourself comfortable. Maybe that's not the day to come in a three-piece suit. Maybe that's the day to wear your sweats. And finally, fake it. Get into character. And what do I mean by fake it on the exam? Make yourself as confident as possible. There will be at least one answer that you know the minute you look at the test that you absolutely know. Answer that one first. Find the ones you know first. Make yourself confident. And then go back, choose the answer you think is best, and don't overthink it. The times that you were the most confident are the times that you make the right choices. So that's all I have for you. Do you have any questions for me? No? No? Okay.